Well, boys and girls, a lot has happened to this car since you guys seen it last. Pretty sure the last video I did on this car, I was stripping the interior out. And I was going to put a cage into it. And then I realized that half my cage is in a different car. So then I started thinking, well, maybe I'll just start taking out some wiring. And then I realized I didn't have any new harnesses built for it. And then I brought it inside the shop, and then next thing you know, the motor fell out the bottom of it. So this thing here has now got royal treatment. So I don't know. Just the way she goes sometimes, right, I guess? Don't plan on doing things one way, and then all of a sudden you're back to where you didn't think you're going to be. Doing it anyway. So we're just about to start putting this subframe and engine back inside of here. Oh, I should take out those wrenches before they get stuck in there forever. You guys have seen me take out subframes before. The main reason why I take out the subframes is for the spider gears. So the rules around me say I can weld rear gears, and I think it gives me an advantage. There's a little bit of a downside and a plus side. Where is it hitting? It's hitting somewhere. Where is she hitting? Maybe the other side. There we go. It was hitting, but no more. Of course, I'm at the very top of my stroke. Oh. Well, guess it's time to bring the hoist down then. Oh, okay, let's bring this thing up, get it off the locks. So like I said, the only reason why I drop the subframe on these things now is to do the actual gears. Unless it's a V6, then I drop the subframe to change the motor mounts, you know, all the fun stuff that I do on Friday nights. But hardest part of this thing right here is getting this lined back up. I'm going to throw some anti-seize on there or something. What do I got? How about some WD? Throw some good old WD on there. W. So let's get these subframe bolts lined up. Bring her down just a little bit more. Right there. Like I said, I don't know. You don't need to drop subframe in these cars unless you're planning to change the motors or something crazy like that. You don't have to drop the subframes. Oh, that's a pretty tight fit. Maybe let's try to do the other side first. That's why. Whoa, you just crushed my thumb a little bit. That's okay. I didn't like that thumb anyway. But like I said, subframes are really not that hard to drop. Everybody thinks doing motor swaps on front-wheel drive cars is a big deal. It's really not that big a deal. Like, especially when you start having tools and stuff like that for it. And once you do a couple, it gets easier every time. Oh. 2 3/4. Like I said, you do a couple of these, you get better at them. I'm getting faster, that's for sure. It's not that hard once you do it a couple times. The first time's always the hardest. And then after that it gets easier. Every time it gets easier. Pull the workbench out from underneath. And then we just let the car down now. All that's really left now is the steering. The struts too, but I'll figure that out. There we go, we got the steering back hooked up. So legitimately what I just did there was all 4 subframe bolts and the steering. So that puts the whole subframe back into this. Yes, the struts are hanging out, I know that. The axles aren't in. But really, that's how easy it is to put this back in there. That's, I started a timer here. That was 9 minutes. Plus I just did a little bit of, did crush my hand, so that took up a little bit of time too. But it's not that much work to take this subframe and put it back into these cars. Yes, I got a couple tools like the hoist and the scissor table, but I've done Cavaliers off of jacks before. I bet you I could do a Camry off a jack. Am I going to do it? Probably not because I have all the tools, but anyway, the motor's back in. So let's go over what I've done to this car. I pulled the motor out. I checked the timing belt. Timing belt was good, so I made a timing belt viewing hole, which I just took a mini grinder and cut a piece of plastic out of the top of it so that I could check the timing belt to make sure it's not come loose. I did check the tensioner and I retensioned the timing belt. I welded my bumper on. If you guys remember, this is the bumper that I ran at Fall Brawl last year. It's got a piece of 2x6 inch square tubing inside of it, and that means I can only run this with one promoter left here in Ontario, and that is Thrill Show. So this car will be going to a Thrill Show event. I do have to finish welding the bumper back on. My welder kind of died out a bit as I was doing it, so I kind of just gave up for the night. I think this will probably be the last car for this bumper. I've had this bumper now for a couple of years. I built this to actually run at Impact Motorsports. And I built it originally to go on the front of a Cavalier. And then I ran it on a Volvo, on a Grand Am, like a 96 Grand Am, 1992 Volvo. What else did I have this thing on? I had it on my Camry last year. Oh, I had this on the front of my 95 Accord wagon. This has been a good bumper, but unfortunately she started to take a negative bend in the middle, so it's actually like pushed in almost 1.5 inches towards the rad. So this bumper is almost near the end of its life. It happens. Even though it's square tubing, it still bends. So, yeah, so we got the motor chain down. We just put it back in. We're going to rerun all of our wires, get our harness built for this thing. Pretty much I'm just going to start cutting all the wires out of this thing very quickly. For this motor, we are not going to run the factory shifter. We're actually going to run, I'm not sure what shifter we're going to run. I'm not sure if we're going to run our gray area shifter. I'm not sure if we're going to run our R&R Derby shifter. Our Jeffy Fab Farm shifter is actually in a different car. But I do have another shifter coming from a much, much smaller source. When I get it, I'll show you guys, but I haven't got it yet. So when I get it, I'll let you know. What else have we done to this car? To be honest, I really think that's... Oh, we disconnected the rear brakes and capped them off. So the rear brakes are off the vehicle completely. so we don't have to worry about those. But that's about all we've done to this car as of right now. It's been kind of slow. Like, the problem is it takes me a week to get this far when I'm working as much as I'm working. So I hate kind of filming a 4-minute video, a 3-minute video every night, and then trying to remember where I left off the night before. So I'd rather just film a video and tell you guys where I am. But I know you guys are getting tired of these Toyota Camrys, but I think they're boring. I think that when you go to a show and there's 20 Toyota Camrys there and one Neon, one Cavalier, that kind of stuff, I find that boring. You go to a show and there's 20 Crown Vics there. I find that boring. What I do like is I do like that I'm getting familiar with them. I do like that I have parts for them. I am planning to do something different. One of the derbies that is local to me, that usually I have 2 cars at every year, has actually stepped away from Thrill Show, and they're planning to put it on their own. So, the Fair Board. And this is the first time, and I think they told me 14 years, that they've actually put on the Demolition Derby themselves. So, I don't think they're running Big Car, because Big Car is pretty much dead around the town that I'm talking about. But they're running Figure 8 mini car, and they want to run minivans. So, every one of you guys has been leaving a comment about my Chrysler minivan. So, I might build it. The Derby's in late August, so I might build a minivan. I've never built a minivan before. It'll be definitely a learning experience, but I don't know if I want to do a Chrysler. Now, I'm not saying I want to buy a Toyota Sienna van like you guys seen here, but I have been doing a lot of talking to guys in the UK, and they say the Toyota Prevana, I don't know. They're before the Sienna. They say that they're super tough vans, but honestly, I haven't really found too many of them. There's not very many of them for sale around me, but I might rent a Caravan. I definitely like to rent a Caravan, but that one is getting a little bit worse for wear. We now ripped the front bumper off of it. We've kind of put a big chunk missing out of the front frame because we tried to pull a car, and the rear bumper is plastic because it's a 03. I'm not sure of the year, but it's a black back plastic bumper. But I don't know, maybe. But that's still 3.5 months away. So if I build that minivan, it's just gonna be bone stock, no cage, no nothing. Smash the windows out, maybe weld the bumper on because there's no bumper on the front of it, and go. Maybe just duct tape the door shut. So I don't know. I think that'll be fun. But I don't know. This car here is coming along. We're just starting to put it back together. Just feed the wiring harness back through the firewall there. But one of the cars I do want to run is a Ford Fusion. I've been trying to buy a couple of them online, and I don't know. I've been trying with no real luck. I know that the 4-cylinder motors, I know they have some flaws. I know that they're just like the Ford Focus is with the shifter right up front, but I'm willing to take that risk. I think those cars are going to be pretty damn tough, so I don't know. That'd be probably the next car I'm going to try to really find and buy. Like last year, I was pretty dead set on finding myself an HHR. I did. I bought one. I ran it. I liked it. But after running these Camrys, these things don't compete. The HHRs don't compete with these Camrys. Oh well. Lots left to do on this car. You've guys seen me jump the starter on it now. You've seen me do all that. But just going to finish wiring this thing up, putting all my power steering back, all that fun junk. But she'll be up and ready to run in no time. I'll probably have her running within the next 2 or 3 days now. So, I don't know. That'll be cool. Get her up and running again. So everybody, thanks for watching. And I'm sorry. This shop has now become Zacks Toyota Workshop, or as some of you guys have been commenting, Toyota Nation, or Camry Nation, with a hashtag symbol. I think it's kind of funny, but these cars aren't going to be around forever. And people say that they're not going to run out, but everybody said that. Everybody said that about the AMC Gremlins. Everybody said that about Pintos. Everybody said that about square body Cavaliers. And you know what? You guys that run all the Luminas, they're going to run out too. In here in Ontario now, Luminas are very, very hard to find. For every, I'm going to say for every 20 Camrys that I see maybe one Lumina, and that might be even a stretch. It might be for every 40 or 50 Camrys I see one Lumina. So they're on the endangered list up here in Ontario. So you Americans better be starting to stockpile those if you really like your Luminas. But I don't know. Times will change, cars will change, everybody's going to find a new tough car, and then just like Luminas became super popular, and Mustangs were popular before that, something else will become popular. Until that time, I'm going to keep stockpiling all these Camrys. I like them. I'm finding them easier and easier every time I'm working on them. So, I'm just going to plug away, get this electrical done, and probably have this car running tonight if the weather holds up and I don't go inside for dinner in too short of time. But take care, guys. We'll see you back here tomorrow.